Jessica Morgan had always believed that hard work and talent would speak for themselves. At 27, she had built a respectable career as a marketing consultant for Sterling Media Group, one of the most prestigious firms in the city. She handled campaigns for high-profile clients, worked long hours, and maintained a professional distance from the drama that often came with her industry. Her life was orderly, predictable, and exactly how she wanted it. That sense of control shattered on a humid Thursday evening at the Valencia Hotel. The networking event had seemed harmless enough. Sterling Media was courting potential investors, and Jessica's boss had insisted the entire team attend. She wore her favorite navy blazer, kept her conversations brief and professional, and planned to leave early. Everything went according to plan until she felt someone watching her from across the marble-floored ballroom. Christopher Whitmore stood near the bar, his steel gray suit perfectly tailored, his expression unreadable. Jessica recognized him immediately. Everyone in the business world knew Christopher Whitmore. At 42, he had built a technology investment empire worth billions. His face appeared in financial magazines, his opinions moved markets, and his reputation preceded him. He was known for his brilliance, his ruthlessness, and his habit of pursuing what he wanted with single-minded determination. Their eyes met for barely a second before Jessica looked away, hoping to avoid interaction. She failed. The first encounter. Jessica felt his presence before she heard his voice. He moved through the crowd with the confidence of someone who had never been told no. Jessica Morgan. His voice was smooth, controlled. Your campaign for the Riverside Development Project was impressive. Aggressive timing, bold messaging. You have instincts that most consultants lack. She turned, forcing a polite smile. Thank you, Mr. Whitmore. I appreciate the feedback. Christopher, please. He stepped closer, and Jessica noticed how his eyes seemed to catalog every detail of her appearance. I have a proposition for you. My investment firm is launching a new venture capital fund. We need someone with your creative approach to handle the marketing strategy. That sounds interesting, but I'm quite committed to my current position. Jessica kept her tone professional, hoping to end the conversation quickly. Christopher smiled, but the expression held no warmth. Everyone has a price, Jessica. I'm prepared to triple your current salary, plus equity in the fund. Think about it. I really don't need to think about it. I'm happy where I am. Jessica started to turn away, but his hand caught her elbow, not roughly but firmly enough to stop her movement. I don't accept refusal easily. His voice dropped lower. I get what I want, Jessica. Always. And right now, I want you working for me. We'll discuss this further over dinner. Tomorrow night, I'll send a car. The presumption in his words sent a chill through her. I have plans tomorrow night. Cancel them. He released her arm and handed her a business card. 8 o'clock. Don't disappoint me. Jessica watched him walk away, her heart pounding. She had heard stories about Christopher Whitmore, about business partners who opposed him and found their companies mysteriously struggling, about competitors who challenged him and faced sudden investigations, about women who rejected his advances and discovered their careers stalling. The invention. Over the next 3 days, Christopher's attention intensified. He sent expensive flower arrangements to her office with notes that grew increasingly personal. He called her work line repeatedly. He showed up at a client meeting she was attending, claiming coincidence. Rita, her best friend and coworker, noticed the disturbance immediately. Jessica, you look terrified every time your phone rings. Rita leaned against the doorframe of Jessica's office. What's going on with you and Christopher Whitmore? Jessica told her everything, the unwanted attention, the veiled threats, the feeling that she was being hunted. You need to make him back off. Rita's expression was serious. These powerful men don't understand rejection unless you make it crystal clear. Tell him you're in a relationship. Tell him you're engaged. The idea formed quickly. That evening, when Christopher appeared at the coffee shop near her apartment, Jessica was ready. Mr. Whitmore, I need to be direct with you. She kept her voice steady despite her racing heart. I'm engaged. I've been trying to decline your offers politely, but you haven't accepted my answer. My fiancé and I are very happy together. I'm not interested in changing jobs, and I'm definitely not interested in dinner. Christopher's eyes narrowed. Engaged? I've done my research on you, Jessica. There's no mention of any relationship, no social media posts, no public appearances with anyone. We keep our relationship private, Jessica improvised quickly. He's not in the business world. We prefer it that way. I see. He studied her face for a long moment. Then I look forward to meeting him. I'm hosting a charity gala next Saturday at the Grandview Estate. Bring your fiancé. I'd love to congratulate you both personally. He walked away before Jessica could respond, leaving her frozen in panic. She had just made her situation infinitely worse. Now she needed to produce a fiancé that didn't exist. The neighbor's offer. Jessica barely slept that night. By morning, she had convinced herself there was no solution. She would have to confess the lie, face Christopher's anger, and deal with whatever consequences followed. She was so lost in worry that she nearly tripped over the package outside her apartment door. "Careful there," a hand steadied her. Jessica looked up into the familiar face of her neighbor from apartment 4B. Nathan Cross had lived in the building about 5 months. They exchanged pleasantries in the hallway, occasionally shared the elevator, but they had never really talked. Jessica knew he was a freelance photographer who traveled frequently. He had an easy smile, dark hair that always seemed slightly windswept, and green eyes that seemed to notice everything. "Sorry, I wasn't paying attention." Jessica bent to pick up the package. "You look stressed." Nathan's observation was gentle, not intrusive. "Everything okay?" Maybe it was exhaustion, maybe it was desperation, but Jessica found herself telling him everything. The billionaire's pursuit, the unwanted attention, the veiled threats, the feeling that she was being hunted. Nathan listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. "I'll do it." Jessica blinked. "Do what?" "Be your fake fiancé. Go to the gala with you. Play the part convincingly enough that this Christopher guy backs off." Nathan shrugged as if he had just offered to water her plants, not participate in an elaborate deception. "I'm actually a pretty good actor. Did some theater in college, and honestly, it sounds more interesting than my weekend plans." "You can't be serious. You don't even know me." "I know you're scared. I know some powerful creep is making your life miserable, and I know what it's like to feel trapped by someone who won't take no for an answer." Something dark flickered across Nathan's expression, then disappeared. "Let me help. What's the worst that could happen?" Jessica would remember that question later when everything fell apart. But in that moment, standing in the hallway with her heart full of hope and relief, she reached out and shook Nathan's extended hand. "Okay, thank you. Really, thank you so much." Nathan's smile widened. "Don't thank me yet. We have a lot of preparing to do. Fake relationships require real planning." He glanced at his watch. "I'm free tonight. Want to come over around 7? We can work out our backstory, practice looking like a couple, make this convincing." "That sounds perfect." As Jessica walked into her apartment, she felt lighter than she had in days. She had found a solution. Nathan seemed kind, normal, helpful. What could possibly go wrong?
Jessica arrived at Nathan's apartment at 7 o'clock sharp, carrying a notebook and a bottle of wine she had grabbed from her kitchen. She needed to approach this methodically, create a believable story that would withstand Christopher's scrutiny. Nathan opened the door wearing jeans and a casual button-down shirt, his apartment surprisingly well-organized for a bachelor who traveled frequently. "Welcome to our first official fake date." Nathan gestured her inside with a theatrical bow. "I cleaned up for you. That's how committed I am to this role." His apartment was larger than hers, with exposed brick walls covered in framed photographs. Jessica paused to examine them. Stunning landscapes, candid street scenes, portraits that captured raw emotion. The work was genuinely impressive. "These are incredible." She moved closer to a black and white image of an elderly woman laughing. "You're really talented." "Thanks. Photography is my passion, even if it doesn't always pay the bills." Nathan handed her a glass of wine. "But tonight, I'm not a struggling photographer. Tonight, I'm your devoted fiancé who thinks you're the most amazing woman in the world, which, by the way, won't be hard to fake." Jessica felt unexpected warmth in her cheeks. "We should focus on our story. Christopher is smart. He'll ask questions, test us. We need our details to match perfectly." They settled on the couch, and Nathan pulled out his own notebook. His organizational approach surprised her. He had already written down potential questions they might face and possible answers. "How long have we been together?" Nathan started. 10 months, long enough to be serious, recent enough to explain why people don't know about us. Jessica scribbled notes. "Where did we meet?" "Here in the building, but we'll say it took a few weeks before we actually talked. You helped me carry groceries one day when the elevator was broken. I invited you for coffee to say thank you." Nathan nodded, writing quickly. "First date?" "That Italian restaurant 2 blocks from here, Giovanni's. We both ordered the seafood pasta. You made me laugh so hard I nearly choked on my wine." "What do I love most about you?" Nathan's green eyes met hers, and Jessica felt her breath catch slightly. "My ambition, my independence, the way I get completely absorbed in my work and forget to eat dinner." She forced herself to maintain eye contact. "What do you love most about me?" "Your laugh, the way you're kind to everyone, even the delivery guy who always gets our orders wrong. How you pretend not to like romantic comedies, but I've caught you crying during them 3 times. Nathan's voice had softened, and for a moment, Jessica almost believed he was describing someone real. They spent hours building their fictional relationship, layering in details that would make it believable. Jessica learned that Nathan had grown up in a small coastal town, that his parents had died in a car accident when he was 19, that he had a younger brother he rarely spoke to. He learned about her demanding career, her complicated relationship with her ambitious mother, her secret dream of opening her own marketing firm someday. "We need to practice physical comfort," Nathan said eventually, checking his watch. "Couples touch each other naturally, holding hands, casual contact. If we're stiff and awkward, Christopher will notice immediately." Jessica's stomach tightened with nervousness, but she nodded. Nathan stood and extended her hand. She took it, and he pulled her gently to her feet. His hand was warm, his grip firm but not controlling. "Just relax." Nathan placed his other hand on her waist. "We're engaged. We've touched each other thousands of times. This is normal and comfortable." He was right. After a few minutes of practicing walking together, standing close, Nathan's hand on the small of her back, the awkwardness faded. Jessica found herself laughing at his jokes, leaning into him naturally. When he brushed a strand of hair from her face, the gesture felt almost real. "You're good at this," Jessica said, suddenly aware of how close they were standing. "So are you." Nathan's voice was quiet. "Maybe too good. We need to be careful not to forget this is pretend." The warning should have registered. Later, Jessica would remember that moment and recognize it as the first sign, but in the apartment's warm lighting, with wine making her relaxed and Nathan's presence making her feel safe, she dismissed the tiny alarm in the back of her mind. The gala. Saturday arrived too quickly. Jessica spent hours choosing her dress, settling on a deep emerald gown that was elegant without being overly revealing. Nathan picked her up at 6:30, looking devastatingly handsome in a perfectly fitted black suit. He carried a small box. Every fake fiancé needs a ring. He opened the box to reveal a simple but beautiful diamond ring. "Don't worry, it's cubic zirconia, but it looks real enough to fool anyone." Jessica's hands trembled slightly as Nathan slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly, and she wondered briefly how he knew her size. "Ready?" Nathan offered her his arm. "As ready as I'll ever be." The Grandview estate was exactly what Jessica had expected. Enormous, ostentatious, filled with the city's wealthiest and most powerful people. Chandeliers cast golden light over marble floors, waiters circulated with champagne, and a string quartet played soft music. Christopher Whitmore stood near the entrance, greeting guests personally. His eyes locked onto Jessica the moment she entered. "Jessica," Christopher's smile was predatory. "I'm so glad you came. And this must be the mysterious fiancé." "Nathan Cross." Nathan extended his hand with confident ease. "I've heard a lot about you, Mr. Whitmore, though Jessica tells me you've been quite persistent in your business offers." Christopher's handshake lingered too long, his eyes assessing Nathan carefully. "I recognize opportunity when I see it. Jessica is exceptionally talented. I simply wanted to ensure she was reaching her full potential." "She's reaching it just fine." Nathan's arm slipped around Jessica's waist, pulling her closer. The gesture was protective, possessive even.
The lunch date Nathan had planned turned into 3 lunch dates, then daily coffee meetings, then evening dinners. Within 2 weeks, Jessica's calendar had been consumed by their fake relationship. Nathan insisted they needed to maintain appearances, especially after Christopher had hired a private investigator to verify their engagement. Rita had warned her that someone was asking questions at their office, photographing them leaving together. "This is exactly what we need," Nathan said one evening as they sat in a restaurant near Jessica's workplace. "Let him investigate. He'll find exactly what we want him to find, a happy, committed couple." Jessica pushed her food around her plate, her appetite gone. "I just feel like this is taking over my entire life. I barely have time to work anymore. My boss mentioned that my focus seems divided." "Your boss works for Sterling Media, which wants Christopher's investment. Of course she's concerned about anything that might upset him." Nathan reached across the table and took her hand. His thumb traced circles on her palm, a gesture that had become familiar over the past weeks. "Once Christopher accepts that you're truly unavailable, this will all calm down. We just need to be patient." But patience was becoming harder to maintain. Nathan had started showing up at her office unannounced, bringing her lunch and staying to chat with her colleagues. He had convinced her to post photos of them together on her previously private social media accounts. He texted her constantly throughout the day, asking where she was, who she was with, when she would be free. At first, Jessica had found the attention flattering, even comforting. Now it felt suffocating. "I think we should ease back a little," Jessica said carefully. "Maybe not see each other every single day. People might think it's odd that we're together constantly." Nathan's expression darkened. "People think it's odd when engaged couples aren't together constantly. That's what would make Christopher suspicious." His grip on her hand tightened. "Unless you're getting tired of spending time with me." "No, it's not that. I just need some space to breathe, to focus on my work." "Your work." Nathan released her hand abruptly. "The same work that put you in Christopher's crosshairs in the first place. Maybe if you weren't so obsessed with your career, you wouldn't be in this situation." Jessica stared at him, shocked. "That's not fair. My career isn't the problem. Christopher's behavior is the problem." Nathan was silent for a moment, then his expression softened. "You're right. I'm sorry. I'm just stressed about keeping you safe." He reached for her hand again, his touch gentle. "I care about you, Jessica, more than I probably should for a fake relationship. Sometimes I forget this isn't real." The confession should have been sweet. Instead, it sent ice through Jessica's veins. The way Nathan looked at her in that moment was too intense, too possessive. This wasn't the easygoing neighbor who had offered to help. This was someone else entirely. The discovery. Jessica began making excuses to spend evenings alone. She claimed she had work deadlines, needed to visit her mother, wasn't feeling well. Nathan accepted her excuses, but his texts became more frequent, more demanding. "Where are you? Who are you with? Why aren't you answering? Send me a photo so I know you're okay." Rita noticed the change immediately. "Jessica, this is getting weird. He's tracking your every move. That's not normal even for a real fiancé." "He's just concerned about Christopher's investigator, making sure we don't slip up." "Christopher's investigator isn't texting you 15 times an hour." Rita pulled up Jessica's phone, scrolling through the messages. "Look at this. He wants to know what you're wearing, where exactly in the building you are, whether you talked to any male colleagues. This isn't concern. This is control." Jessica knew Rita was right. She had been avoiding admitting it to herself, but Nathan's behavior had crossed from helpful to disturbing. She needed to end this arrangement before it escalated further. That evening, she knocked on Nathan's door, prepared to tell him they needed to stage a breakup. Nathan answered immediately, as if he had been waiting. "Jessica, thank God. I've been worried. You weren't answering my texts." He pulled her inside before she could protest. "We need to talk about something important." "Actually, I need to talk to you about something too." "Me first." Nathan guided her to the couch with a hand on her lower back. "Christopher contacted me today, directly. He invited me to lunch, said he wanted to get to know the man who captured your heart." Jessica's blood ran cold. "What did he say?" "I agreed, obviously. It's the perfect opportunity to convince him once and for all." Nathan's eyes gleamed with something that looked almost like excitement. "But you need to trust me completely. No questioning my decisions, no backing out. Can you do that?" "Nathan, I don't think this is a good idea. Maybe we should just end this now. Tell Christopher we broke up, that I'm not interested in dating anyone right now." Nathan's expression changed instantly. The warmth disappeared, replaced by something cold and hard. "End this? After everything I've done for you? After I've spent weeks protecting you, playing this role, dealing with your mood swings and your constant need for space?" "My need for space?"
Jessica stood up, alarm bells finally ringing at full volume. "Nathan, you've been smothering me. The constant texts, showing up everywhere, demanding to know where I am every moment. This was supposed to be a simple arrangement to get Christopher to back off. It's become something completely different." "It became different the moment I met you." Nathan stood up as well, moving closer. "I've been watching you for months, Jessica, long before you knocked on my door asking for help. I knew everything about you, your schedule, your favorite coffee shop, the route you take to work. I've been waiting for the right moment to approach you, and then you handed me the perfect opportunity." Jessica's heart hammered against her ribs. "You've been watching me? For months?" "I had to make sure you were worth it." Nathan's voice was calm, rational, as if he was explaining something perfectly reasonable. "I had to verify that you were as special as I thought. And you are, Jessica. You're perfect. We're perfect together. Christopher saw it immediately. That's why he's so determined to take you from me." "Take me from you? I was never yours. You became mine the moment you put on that ring, the moment you introduced me as your fiancé, the moment you let me into your life." Nathan pulled out his phone, scrolling quickly. Look at what we have together." He showed her his photo gallery, and Jessica's stomach lurched. Hundreds of photos. Pictures of her leaving her apartment, walking to work, sitting in coffee shops. Images from before she had ever spoken to him. More recent photos of them together, but also pictures of her alone, taken from angles that suggested he had been following her without her knowledge. "You're insane," Jessica whispered.